Class 2 knowledge of the latest research and best practices related to supportive measures for well-aging. Keeping abreast of the latest research and best practices is the cornerstone of effective supportive measures for well-aging. This knowledge is dynamic, continually evolving as experts gain a deeper understanding of the aging process and refine strategies to promote well-being. Here's how this knowledge contributes to best practices. Evidence-based decision-making. Knowledge of the latest research enables decision-makers to adopt evidence-based approaches to well-aging. For example, staying informed about the benefits of physical activity, nutrition, and mental stimulation empowers organizations to prioritize these elements in their programs. Continuous improvement. Best practices are often a reflection of lessons learned from previous initiatives. By understanding the latest research, organizations can identify trends and emerging challenges, allowing for continuous improvement and adaptation of their supportive measures. Tailored interventions. Research can shed light on the specific needs and preferences of elderly populations, even within a local government's area of responsibility. For example, studies may reveal that certain communities have a higher prevalence of particular health conditions or cultural practices that need to be accommodated in supportive measures. Understanding of the specific needs and preferences of the elderly population in the local government's area of responsibility. The localized understanding of the elderly population's unique needs and preferences is vital for tailoring supportive measures effectively. This understanding forms the foundation of best practices in well-aging support. Customized services. By comprehending the specific needs of their elderly citizens, local governments and organizations can design services that cater to these needs. For example, if a community has a significant elderly population with mobility issues, investing in accessible infrastructure becomes a priority. Culturally sensitive care, cultural competence, an aspect of understanding local preferences, is crucial in ensuring that care respects diverse backgrounds. Providing culturally appropriate food, language support, and respecting religious practices are examples of best practices in culturally sensitive care. Community engagement. Local communities often have distinct social structures and preferences. Best practices involve engaging with community leaders and organizations to understand how they envision well-aging initiatives fitting into their existing social fabric. Knowledge of the different types of supportive measures available for the elderly population. Understanding the diverse range of supportive measures available is a fundamental aspect of best practices. This knowledge helps in selecting the most appropriate interventions and services for the elderly population. Holistic care. Best practices recognize that elderly individuals have multifaceted needs. This means considering healthcare, social support, housing, financial security, and lifelong learning as interdependent components of well-aging. Preventive measures. Knowledge of preventive healthcare measures, such as regular health checkups, vaccinations, and lifestyle interventions, underscores the importance of early intervention to maintain health and independence in old age. Tailored housing options. Different types of housing, from age-friendly communities to assisted living facilities, cater to varying levels of independence and care needs. Best practices involve offering a range of housing options to accommodate individual preferences. The ability to apply the knowledge acquired. Knowing the latest research, local needs, and supportive measures is valuable, but it's equally crucial to apply this knowledge effectively. The following abilities contribute to implementing best practices: ability to research and evaluate different supportive measures, programs, and initiatives. Data-driven decision-making. Best practices involve systematic research and evaluation of existing programs. This includes analyzing outcomes, cost-effectiveness, and the satisfaction of elderly beneficiaries to inform decision-making. Benchmarking. By researching and comparing similar programs in other regions or countries, local governments and organizations can identify and adopt successful models, saving time and resources. Analytical skills to assess the effectiveness of different supportive measures, programs, and initiatives. Outcome measurement. Effective assessment of program outcomes, such as improved health indicators, enhanced social connections, or increased participation in lifelong learning, helps determine program effectiveness. Cost-benefit analysis. Analyzing the cost-effectiveness of different initiatives aids in resource allocation and ensures that supportive measures generate the maximum benefit for elderly citizens. Communication skills to effectively communicate with stakeholders involved in the development and implementation of supportive measures, programs, and initiatives. Stakeholder engagement. Effective communication with all stakeholders, including government agencies, healthcare providers, community organizations, and the elderly population and their families is crucial for collaboration and program success. Transparency. Best practices dictate open and transparent communication, ensuring that all parties are well informed about the objectives, progress, and outcomes of supportive measures programs. To be able to. In addition to the knowledge and skills mentioned above, several overarching abilities contribute to best practices in supportive measures for well-aging. Critical thinking to evaluate and compare different supportive measures programs and initiatives. Program alignment. Critical thinking helps in assessing how well a program aligns with the specific needs of the elderly population. It involves asking questions like, does the program address identified local needs? Are its goals clear and measurable? Risk assessment. Evaluators need to consider potential risks and challenges associated with different programs to ensure that they are well prepared to mitigate these issues. Creativity to identify innovative and effective supportive measures programs and initiatives. Out-of-the-box solutions. Innovative thinking allows for the identification of unconventional but effective approaches to well-aging support. For instance, using technology to facilitate virtual social connections among isolated elderly individuals during the COVID-19 pandemic. Pilot initiatives. Creativity often involves piloting new ideas on a small scale to assess their feasibility and impact before scaling up. Collaborative skills to work with other stakeholders and build partnerships. Synergy. Collaboration ensures that supportive measures benefit from the combined expertise and resources of multiple stakeholders, resulting in more comprehensive and effective programs. Conflict resolution. Conflicts and disagreements may arise during collaborative efforts. Best practices involve having conflict resolution mechanisms in place to ensure that partnerships remain productive. Cultural competence to understand and respect the diverse needs and preferences of the elderly population in the local government's area of responsibility. Cultural sensitivity. Understanding diverse cultural practices and traditions is crucial in creating an inclusive environment that respects the preferences of elderly citizens from various backgrounds. Language access. Ensuring that information and services are accessible in multiple languages helps elderly individuals who may not be fluent in the local language. In conclusion, best practices in supportive measures for well-aging are built on a foundation of knowledge, application, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and cultural competence. These elements work in harmony to create tailored, evidence-based programs that address the unique needs and preferences of the elderly population in a local government's area of responsibility. By continuously striving to improve and adapt, stakeholders can ensure that their efforts to support well-aging are effective, meaningful, and sustainable.